When someone hurts you, the natural instinct is often to react. Your emotions surge, your mind races, and in the heat of the moment, you may feel compelled to respond immediately. Whether it's in anger, hurt, frustration, or confusion, your reaction is a reflex born from the desire to protect yourself, defend your honor, or retaliate. But the power lies not in reacting, but in mastering the pause, those precious moments where you take a breath, reflect, and choose your response consciously. Mastering the pause is about regaining control of your emotions and actions. It's about giving yourself the space to step back, breathe, and consider how best to respond in a way that aligns with your true values and goals. In moments of pain or distress, your initial reaction can be impulsive and driven by emotions that might not reflect the person you truly want to be. You might say things you regret, make decisions based on fleeting emotions, or let others' words and actions have a power over you that you don't deserve. By pausing, you interrupt that cycle of automatic reaction and create the opportunity to act with intention. This pause is a form of emotional self-discipline. It's not about suppressing your feelings or denying yourself the right to be upset or hurt. Instead, it's about giving yourself the space to process your emotions fully before they dictate your behavior. When someone hurts you, it's natural to feel betrayed, angry, sad, or disappointed. But if you allow yourself to experience those emotions without immediately acting on them, you can gain a deeper understanding of your feelings and why they're triggered. This awareness allows you to separate your emotions from your actions, ensuring that your response is thoughtful and measured. Mastering the pause also gives you the chance to reflect on the bigger picture. In the heat of the moment, it's easy to lose sight of what truly matters. You might want to retaliate, to hurt the other person as they've hurt you, but in doing so, you risk perpetuating a cycle of negativity that can harm both you and the other person. By taking a moment to pause, you remind yourself of your values and long-term goals. Do you want to be the kind of person who engages in petty arguments or seeks revenge, or do you want to rise above and focus on your own growth and success? The pause allows you to reconnect with your higher self and choose a path that serves your peace and progress. There's also a profound strength in mastering the pause because it denies the other person control over your emotional state. When you react impulsively, you give away your power to them. You allow their actions to dictate your emotional reality. However, by pausing, you reclaim that power. You choose how to respond, and you take charge of your emotional life. This self-mastery is empowering. It shifts the dynamic between you and the person who has hurt you. Instead of being a victim of their words or actions, you become the master of your own peace and emotional well-being. Moreover, mastering the pause can improve your relationships in the long run. While it may seem like a moment of silence or distance creates a gap between you and the person who hurt you, in reality, it allows space for empathy and understanding. When you're not reacting in the moment, you can process the situation from a place of calm. You might find that you begin to understand where the other person is coming from, whether it's their own struggles, insecurities, or misunderstandings that led to their hurtful behavior. You might also realize that responding in anger only escalates the situation, while pausing gives you the opportunity to diffuse tension and approach the situation with a clearer, more compassionate mindset. Taking the pause also offers the chance to make sure your response is constructive. A well-thought-out response is far more effective than an emotional outburst. Whether you're addressing the person who hurt you, setting a boundary, or choosing to walk away from the situation altogether, your actions after the pause are more likely to reflect your values and help you move forward. A deliberate response is grounded in your true self, while a reactive response is often based on fear, pride, or insecurity. The pause isn't just for moments of conflict, it's also a tool for personal growth. It teaches patience, emotional regulation, and resilience. In a world that encourages instant reactions through texts, social media posts, or heated exchanges, pausing becomes a radical act of self-control. It teaches you to trust that not every situation requires an immediate reaction, and that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to simply wait, reflect, and act when you're ready. Ultimately, mastering the pause is about choosing peace over chaos, reflection over reaction, and control over impulse. It's about taking back the power that hurtful people and situations often steal from you. In that pause, you find the strength to choose a path that aligns with the best version of yourself, the one who is calm, grounded, and in charge of her emotions. When you learn to pause, you stop letting others define your response and start defining your own life on your own terms. When someone hurts you, it's easy to internalize their actions and make them about you. The words they say or the way they treat you can feel deeply personal, as if their behavior is a reflection of who you are or something you've done. But the truth is, most hurtful actions are more about the other person than they are about you. Understanding the source of someone's hurtful behavior allows you to see things from a different perspective, and in doing so, gives you the emotional freedom to rise above it. Often, when people lash out or hurt others, it comes from a place of pain or insecurity. People who are struggling with their own emotional battles, self-doubt, or personal challenges may project their hurt onto others. Their words and actions are reflections of their internal turmoil, not an accurate judgment of you. Understanding this is liberating because it helps you depersonalize the situation. You can start to see that their behavior is not a reflection of your worth or your character, but a reflection of where they are in their own lives. The hurt they express is often a cry for help, an attempt to manage their own feelings of inadequacy, fear, or frustration. People may hurt others because they themselves are hurt. Emotional pain, whether it's from childhood trauma, unresolved issues, or current life struggles, can distort a person's perception of the world and how they interact with others. For example, someone who has been repeatedly rejected or betrayed might develop a defensive attitude, assuming that others will hurt them first, or that they need to hurt others to protect themselves. Their hurtful actions might be a misguided attempt to defend themselves, even though they're projecting their own emotional wounds onto others. Understanding this allows you to see beyond the behavior and recognize that their pain is driving their actions, not your worth. Another source of hurtful behavior is a lack of emotional intelligence. Some people haven't learned how to manage their own emotions effectively, which leads them to react impulsively or inappropriately when they feel threatened, overwhelmed, or upset. Their response may be one of anger, defensiveness, or sarcasm, but these reactions are often not directed at you personally. Instead, they're a manifestation of their inability to process and regulate their own feelings. When you recognize this, it becomes easier to separate their actions from your own sense of self-worth. Their inability to manage their emotions is not a reflection of your actions or your value, it's a reflection of their emotional state and personal limitations. Understanding the source of someone's hurtful behavior also involves recognizing that not everyone has the same coping mechanisms. Some people have learned unhealthy ways to deal with pain, such as lashing out at others or bottling up their feelings until they explode. These reactions are often automatic and based on past experiences, rather than a thoughtful consideration of the present moment. In these cases, their behavior may not even be directed at you, but rather be a reflection of unresolved issues or negative patterns they've carried from the past. Seeing this allows you to empathize with their situation, even if you don't condone their behavior. There's also the reality that some people simply have a different worldview or set of expectations that can lead to misunderstandings or conflict. For instance, someone may come from a background where tough love or criticism is the norm, while you might have grown up in an environment where empathy and support were valued. When these differing perspectives clash, it can lead to hurt feelings, even though the intention was not to harm. In these situations, understanding the source of the other person's behavior helps you navigate the conflict with greater compassion and less judgment. It allows you to see that the other person may be acting out of their own belief system, even if it's not aligned with yours. While it's important to understand the source of the hurt, it doesn't mean you have to excuse or accept hurtful behavior. Understanding why someone behaves the way they do doesn't mean that you have to tolerate mistreatment. In fact, understanding the source of their actions can help you set healthy boundaries and respond in a way that protects your own emotional well-being. It can help you discern whether their behavior is something you need to address directly or if it's something you can let go of, knowing that it has more to do with their personal struggles than with your relationship with them. At the same time, understanding the source of the hurt allows you to respond with empathy rather than defensiveness. When you can recognize that the other person's actions are a result of their own pain or lack of emotional awareness, you can approach the situation with greater compassion. Instead of taking their behavior personally, you can choose to respond with patience, kindness, and understanding. You may even find that you're able to help the other person recognize their own behavior and work toward healthier ways of dealing with their emotions. Furthermore, when you understand the source of someone's actions, you gain a deeper understanding of human behavior in general. You begin to recognize that everyone carries their own burdens, their own insecurities, and their own emotional struggles. This awareness allows you to approach the world with greater kindness and less judgment, understanding that people's hurtful actions are often not about you at all. It opens the door to compassion and forgiveness, both for others and for yourself. Ultimately, understanding the source of someone's hurtful behavior allows you to detach emotionally from their actions. You no longer feel the need to internalize their hurt or react to their negativity. Instead, you can maintain your peace, knowing that their pain is theirs to work through, not something that you need to carry. In doing so, you protect your own emotional well-being and free yourself from the toxic cycle of reacting to others' hurtful behavior. When you've been hurt by someone, whether through betrayal, criticism, or intentional harm, it's natural to want revenge. The desire to get even, to make them feel the pain they caused you, can be overwhelming. The thought of retribution may give you a sense of power or justice, even if only momentarily. However, choosing growth over revenge is one of the most profound and empowering decisions you can make. It's not about denying your hurt or pretending that what happened didn't matter. It's about understanding that true strength lies in your ability to rise above the situation, transform the pain, and use it as fuel for personal growth and success. Revenge may feel satisfying in the short term, but it's ultimately a destructive path. When you focus on getting back at someone, you become consumed by their actions, and you give them the power to dictate your emotional state. The energy you put into plotting revenge, rehearsing the hurt, and seeking retribution is energy you're taking away from yourself. Rather than directing your efforts toward healing or moving forward, you're investing in perpetuating negativity, which keeps you tied to the very thing that harmed you. On the other hand, choosing growth means choosing to move forward. It's a decision to take control of your own narrative, to take the experience of being hurt and transform it into something positive. Growth doesn't mean ignoring the impact of what's been done to you. It means learning from it and using it as an opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. You don't allow the person who hurt you to define who you are or where you go next. Instead, you decide that their actions won't hold you back or define your future. One of the most empowering aspects of choosing growth over revenge is the freedom it gives you. Revenge is a trap. It keeps you bound to the past, to the hurt, to the person who caused the pain. But when you choose growth, you release yourself from the grip of the past. You stop allowing that person's actions to control your present and future. You take back your power by choosing to grow, which enables you to heal and move on. It's a decision to invest your energy in creating the life you want, rather than in wasting it on negativity. Choosing growth also means recognizing that your personal progress is the ultimate form of revenge. The best way to show someone who has hurt you that their actions didn't break you is to become a stronger, better version of yourself. Success, happiness, and inner peace are the best forms of retaliation because they demonstrate that you are not defeated by others' negativity. You rise above it. When you choose to focus on your growth, you demonstrate that their attempts to hurt you were ultimately futile. Your life becomes a reflection of the fact that no one has the power to derail your journey unless you allow it. This approach also encourages you to view difficult situations as opportunities for self-discovery. When you've been hurt, it's easy to fall into the trap of self-pity or bitterness. However, choosing growth allows you to step back and ask, what can I learn from this? The experience of being hurt can reveal things about yourself that you may not have known before. It can highlight areas where you might need healing, personal development, or a shift in perspective. The more you focus on your growth, the more you understand your own strengths, values, and goals. Rather than being defined by the hurt, you're defined by how you respond to it and what you become in the process. Choosing growth over revenge also requires you to cultivate emotional intelligence. It's easy to react to pain with anger, but true maturity lies in the ability to process emotions constructively. Growth comes from learning how to deal with difficult emotions without allowing them to control you. Instead of using your energy to harbor resentment or anger, you learn how to process those emotions healthfully through reflection, communication, and self-care. By mastering emotional regulation, you empower yourself to navigate life's challenges without getting derailed by hurt or negativity. Another aspect of choosing growth over revenge is the cultivation of forgiveness. Forgiveness isn't about excusing someone's behavior, it's about freeing yourself from the emotional burden of holding on to the past. When you choose growth, you recognize that holding on to anger, resentment, or the desire for revenge only harms you in the long run. Forgiveness allows you to release the grip that negative emotions have on you. It doesn't mean you forget what happened, but it means that you no longer allow it to dictate your actions, feelings, or your future. Through forgiveness, you choose to reclaim your peace and your power, no longer letting the hurt control you. Choosing growth over revenge is also a mindset shift. It's about focusing on the bigger picture and seeing that life is full of opportunities for growth and learning. If you spend your energy on seeking revenge, you limit yourself to a narrow path defined by anger and bitterness. However, when you choose growth, you open yourself up to a wide range of possibilities, personal development, new opportunities, deeper relationships, and more. Growth expands your vision of what's possible for your life, whereas revenge keeps you trapped in a cycle of negativity and emotional stagnation. In the end, choosing growth over revenge is the most empowering choice you can make. It's a commitment to taking control of your life and using every experience, no matter how painful, as a stepping stone toward becoming the best version of yourself. It's about recognizing that your happiness, success, and peace are far more important than any desire for revenge. By focusing on growth, you not only rise above the pain, but transform it into something positive, proving to yourself and the world that no one's actions can define your worth or your future. Setting boundaries is one of the most important skills you can cultivate in life. It's a way of preserving your peace, protecting your emotional well-being, and ensuring that your relationships are healthy and respectful. However, many people find it difficult to set boundaries, often because they fear conflict or believe that doing so will cause drama or tension. The truth is, setting boundaries doesn't have to be dramatic. It can be done with clarity, respect, and calm, without unnecessary confrontation or chaos. Setting boundaries without drama is about establishing clear guidelines for how you want to be treated and communicating them in a way that is firm yet peaceful. One of the most important things to understand about boundaries is that they are not about controlling others, they are about controlling your own responses and protecting your own space. Boundaries help you define what is acceptable behavior and what is not, and they allow you to establish limits in your relationships that honor your needs and feelings. They are a reflection of self-respect. By setting boundaries, you are communicating that you value yourself and your time, and you expect others to do the same. However, many people fear that setting boundaries will create drama or lead to conflict. They worry that others will be upset or that they will be seen as selfish or unkind. But in reality, setting boundaries can actually reduce drama by preventing resentment and misunderstanding from building up. When you don't set clear boundaries, you often end up tolerating behaviors that you find uncomfortable or disrespectful, which can lead to frustration and passive-aggressive behavior. This creates more tension in the long run. On the other hand, when you set boundaries clearly and calmly, you eliminate the ambiguity and allow people to understand where you stand, which reduces the potential for future conflict. The key to setting boundaries without drama is to communicate them calmly and confidently. It's important to be clear about what you need and why it matters to you, but it's equally important to remain calm and composed in the process. When you set boundaries with a sense of urgency, defensiveness, or hostility, it can escalate the situation and cause unnecessary drama. However, when you express your boundaries calmly and assertively, you are more likely to be heard and respected. For example, instead of saying, "I can't believe you always do this, it's so disrespectful," you could say, "I've noticed that when this happens, it makes me feel uncomfortable. I would appreciate it if we could avoid this in the future." Setting boundaries without drama also requires you to be consistent. It's important to enforce your boundaries when they are crossed, but this doesn't mean you need to react with anger or frustration. You can simply reinforce your boundary calmly and respectfully. For example, if someone continues to push a boundary that you've already set, You can respond by saying, "I've already mentioned that I'm not comfortable with this and I need you to respect that." By remaining consistent and calm, you reinforce the idea that your boundaries are non-negotiable without having to engage in conflict or escalate the situation. Another important aspect of setting boundaries without drama is being aware of your own emotions. Often, we avoid setting boundaries because we're afraid of how others will react, or we worry that it will make us feel guilty or uncomfortable. However, it's important to recognize that your feelings are valid, and it's okay to prioritize your own needs. Setting boundaries is not about being selfish, it's about being self-aware and taking care of your emotional health. When you approach boundary setting with a sense of confidence and self-respect, it becomes much easier to do so without drama. It's also helpful to understand that not everyone will always respect your boundaries, and that's okay. Setting a boundary is an invitation for others to understand how you want to be treated, but it's ultimately up to them whether they respect it. If someone disregards your boundary, it's important to stick to your guns and reinforce the boundary calmly, without getting emotionally involved in their reaction. This is where the true power of setting boundaries without drama comes in. You don't need to justify or defend your boundaries endlessly. Once you've communicated them clearly, your job is to enforce them, no drama, no argument. Just a firm, peaceful stance on what you will and will not tolerate. Setting boundaries also involves knowing when to walk away from situations that are harmful or toxic. Sometimes people will continue to push your boundaries or ignore them entirely. In these cases, the best course of action is to remove yourself from the situation. Walking away is not a dramatic gesture. It's simply a choice to protect your well-being. When you remove yourself from a situation that disrespects your boundaries, you are taking a proactive step in taking care of yourself. This act of self-respect is powerful, but it doesn't need to be accompanied by conflict or tension. It can be done quietly, calmly, and decisively without drama. Boundaries are also about giving yourself permission to say no without feeling guilty. Many people struggle with this, especially when they don't want to disappoint others or cause conflict. However, the ability to say no is one of the most empowering skills you can have. Saying no to something that doesn't align with your values or your emotional needs is not an attack on the other person. It's simply a recognition that your time, energy, and peace are precious. You don't need to over-explain yourself or justify your no to anyone. A simple, clear statement is all that's necessary. In the end, setting boundaries without drama is about understanding that your peace and well-being are paramount. By calmly, consistently, and confidently setting boundaries, you create an environment where you are respected and where your needs are honored. You don't have to engage in conflict or drama to assert your limits. Instead, you communicate them with clarity and calm, reinforcing them as necessary and prioritizing your own emotional health without guilt or hesitation. This approach not only protects your peace, but also sets the tone for healthier, more respectful relationships moving forward. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful tools for healing, yet it is often one of the most difficult choices to make, especially when we've been deeply hurt. When someone wrongs us, the emotional wounds can feel profound, and the instinct to hold on to anger, resentment, or a desire for revenge can be overwhelming. But in holding on to these negative emotions, we often find that we are the ones who suffer the most. The act of forgiveness is not about excusing the other person's behavior or condoning what was done to us. It is about freeing ourselves from the emotional burden that comes with holding on to pain. Healing through forgiveness is a deeply personal journey that allows us to reclaim our peace and restore our sense of well-being. Forgiveness begins with the recognition that holding on to grudges harms us far more than it harms the person who wronged us. Anger, bitterness, and resentment are emotional weights that we carry, and the longer we hold on to them, the more they affect our mental and physical health. When we forgive, we release this weight. We stop allowing the actions of others to control our emotional state, and in doing so, we take back our power. The process of forgiveness allows us to let go of the pain and the negative energy, giving us the space to heal and move forward. One of the misconceptions about forgiveness is that it means forgetting what happened or pretending that the hurt didn't matter. In reality, forgiveness is not about erasing the past, but about choosing not to let the past define our present or future. Forgiving someone does not mean that we condone their behavior or excuse their actions. Instead, it means that we are no longer going to let the harm they caused us dictate our emotional state. We recognize that while we cannot change what happened, we can choose how we respond and how much power we give to the past. Forgiveness is also a form of self-compassion. When we are wronged, it's easy to fall into the trap of self-pity or to get stuck in a cycle of blame and victimhood. We may feel justified in holding on to our anger, believing that it is a way of protecting ourselves or asserting that we deserve better. However, this mindset keeps us locked in the past and prevents us from healing. When we choose forgiveness, we choose to treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer to a loved one who was hurt. We recognize that while we may have been wronged, we are worthy of peace, healing, and freedom from the emotional pain that binds us. The process of healing through forgiveness also involves letting go of the need for justice in the way we often expect it. While it's natural to want the person who hurt us to face consequences, true healing comes when we release the belief that we have control over how others are held accountable. The desire for justice or for the other person to get what they deserve can keep us emotionally invested in the situation long after it has passed. Forgiveness is a way of saying, I no longer need your actions to be right in order for me to heal. It is an acknowledgement that our peace is more important than holding on to the need for retribution. Forgiveness is not a one-time event, but rather a process. It is not always easy, and it does not always happen overnight. We may need to forgive multiple times, especially if the hurt runs deep or if the same person continues to hurt us. Sometimes we forgive in stages. At first, we may simply be able to acknowledge the pain, and over time, we may work toward letting go of the anger and resentment. The process may take time, and that's okay. Forgiveness is not about rushing or forcing ourselves to let go before we're ready. It's about giving ourselves permission to heal at our own pace without judgment or self-criticism. Part of healing through forgiveness is also recognizing that forgiveness is not just for the person who wronged us, it is for ourselves. We often hold on to pain as if it will punish the person who hurt us, but in reality, it is only punishing us. By choosing to forgive, we release ourselves from the grip of the past and free ourselves to move forward. Forgiveness allows us to take the emotional power back from the person who hurt us. It puts us in control of our healing process rather than allowing the actions of others to continue to affect us. It's also important to remember that forgiveness does not mean we have to reconcile with the person who hurt us or continue a relationship with them. Sometimes the most healing choice is to forgive from a distance, to let go of the emotional baggage, and to move on without continuing to engage with the person who caused us harm. Forgiveness does not mean that we allow ourselves to be mistreated or that we put ourselves back in a position to be hurt again. It simply means that we release the emotional hold that the past has over us. Forgiveness can also open the door to compassion and empathy. As we begin to heal, we may start to understand that the person who hurt us was likely acting out of their own pain, fear, or insecurity. While this understanding does not justify their actions, it allows us to see them as imperfect human beings rather than villains. When we begin to cultivate empathy for others, we free ourselves from the need for revenge or judgment, and we open ourselves to a greater sense of peace and understanding. The process of healing through forgiveness is ultimately about reclaiming our own power. When we choose to forgive, we are no longer victims of our circumstances or the actions of others. We take back control of our emotions, our peace, and our happiness. We give ourselves the gift of healing, not because the other person deserves it, but because we do. Forgiveness is an act of self-love, a decision to move forward, and a commitment to healing ourselves from the inside out. By letting go of the past, we create space for new opportunities, growth, and a deeper sense of inner peace. In life, words are powerful, but actions speak louder. The way we carry ourselves, the choices we make, and the way we treat others often reveal more about us than anything we could ever say. While words can express intentions, motivations, and desires, it is through our actions that we demonstrate our true character. Letting your actions speak is a powerful principle that shows integrity, consistency, and authenticity in everything you do. It's about moving beyond talk and allowing your behaviors and decisions to embody the values and qualities you hold dear. One of the key reasons that actions speak louder than words is because actions are tangible. Words can be empty or unfulfilled, but actions provide proof. When we make promises or express intentions, they are often just abstract ideas. However, when we follow through with our actions, we bring those intentions to life. For example, telling someone you care about them is meaningful, but showing that care through acts of kindness, attention, and support is where true depth lies. When you let your actions speak, you remove any doubt or confusion. You no longer need to convince others of your sincerity because they can see it in what you do. This principle also applies to our personal growth and self-development. It's easy to talk about the changes we want to make or the goals we wish to achieve, but the real measure of progress is seen in the steps we take toward those objectives. It's easy to say we want to be healthier, but when we make conscious decisions to eat better, exercise, and prioritize our well-being, our actions reflect the authenticity of that desire. Similarly, if we say we want to be more successful but fail to put in the effort, discipline, and dedication required to achieve success, our words ring hollow. Letting our actions speak is the bridge between intention and accomplishment. It is through our actions that we demonstrate our commitment and our resolve to achieve what we say we want. In relationships, actions often communicate more than words ever could. We can tell someone we love them, but it's our actions that show the depth and sincerity of that love. Love is expressed through the time we spend with others, the sacrifices we make, and the way we support them during times of need. Telling someone you'll always be there for them is important, but showing up when they need you most is the action that makes your words meaningful. This is true in romantic relationships, friendships, family dynamics, and professional interactions. Actions are the foundation of trust. When people see that your actions align with your words, they are more likely to believe in your sincerity, dependability, and commitment. There is also immense power in letting your actions speak when it comes to setting an example for others. Whether you realize it or not, people are always watching. Your behavior, how you handle adversity, how you show up in difficult situations, these are all forms of communication that leave a lasting impression. For instance, in a professional setting, you may say you value teamwork and collaboration, but if you consistently isolate yourself and fail to support your colleagues, your words lose meaning. On the other hand, when you embody the principles you espouse through your actions, whether by offering help, being reliable, or showing respect for others, you inspire those around you to do the same. Your actions become a living example of the values you hold, and that can have a profound effect on those in your sphere of influence. Letting your actions speak also plays a crucial role in maintaining consistency and integrity. When there's a gap between what we say and what we do, it creates dissonance both for ourselves and for others. This inconsistency can erode trust and cause confusion. For example, if you tell people you value honesty but regularly act in ways that are deceitful, it undermines your credibility. People may begin to doubt your sincerity, and you may begin to doubt yourself. On the other hand, when your actions consistently align with your words, you build trust, strengthen relationships, and establish a reputation for being reliable and true to your word. Moreover, letting your actions speak means that you don't need to justify yourself constantly. Actions often require no explanation. If you demonstrate kindness, generosity, and integrity through your actions, you don't need to explain why you're doing what you're doing. The impact is clear, and people can see your true intentions without needing you to explain them verbally. In contrast, when you're all talk and no action, it often leads to a sense of frustration or skepticism. Words without corresponding actions often seem like empty promises or self-serving rhetoric, which can distance you from others rather than draw them in. Taking this further, letting your actions speak helps you stay grounded and authentic. It removes the need for validation through constant verbal affirmation or external praise. When you focus on doing what is right regardless of whether anyone is watching or acknowledging it, you demonstrate true strength of character. You don't need external validation because you know the value and meaning of your actions and you take pride in them for their own sake. This authenticity allows you to be at peace with yourself, knowing that you are living according to your values and that your actions are aligned with who you are at the core. In a world where words are often abundant, but actions can be scarce, letting your actions speak is a form of quiet power. It requires no grand declarations or boasting, just consistency, integrity, and the courage to live your truth. People may forget what you say, but they will remember what you did. Your actions leave a lasting impression, not just on others, but on yourself as well. They shape the legacy you create and the kind of person you become. When your actions speak louder than your words, you demonstrate the courage to live authentically, to stand by your values, and to embody the change you wish to see in the world. Ultimately, it is through actions that we leave our most meaningful mark.